Welcome to this video. In this video, you will learn how to create lists, how to access the element of the list, how to do list slicing, how to modify the list, how to remove elements from the list, and also how to use other list methods such as the append, the insert, the extend. But also I will teach you how to do list comprehension, which is a form of listing of a list of element or a group of elements, so to say. And then I also show you how to manipulate a nested loops, nested list, and how to do sorting and reversing. At the end of this video, you should have like a good understanding of what lists in Python are, and you will know all the main actions you could perform on this list. And so without waste of time, let's go straight into this. So start with creating a list. As I've already introduced in my previous videos, a list is actually a type of data, and in this case it looks like that. So you have a bracket, a square bracket, and then you have element, and they're separated by commas, and this makes it a list. So whenever Python sees a group of numbers or data arranged in this format, it identifies it as a list, or it groups it as a list, and so it knows it's as a list. And so once it's as a list, then you could do a lot of this stuff I mentioned above. And so here's an example. You could create a list from um, letters or alphabetical strings. In this case, we're using fruits, and we have apple, banana, cherry, and they are separated by comma, and they have the square bracket. This makes them a list. You could also have them in form of numbers. So here we have integers, which are whole numbers, and they're separated by commas. It don't have to be 5. It could be 2 only. It could be 3. It could be a million. It could be as long as you want. Okay, and so this is now we've created this list, and we passed it into this variable called numbers. But also you could also combine numbers that are even like integers and that are float, even booleans and strings together. So here we've combined all the other data type or numbers that appear like in other different data types into a single list called the mixed here. And so if I run this, if we check the type of any of this, for example the mix, it will tell us it's a list because of the square bracket in front. And so if we do what is the type of mixed, which is a variable, it will tell us this is a list. Or better say, if we do a whose, it will just tell us everything is in memory together alongside. Okay, because I have this stuff here. So I will remove that, and if I run that, then it tells us that everything here is a list basically, and these are the number of elements that are present in the different lists. Great. And so that's how to create lists, but this is just one way. This is how to manually create lists. You could even like create lists in a different ways. So for example, if you want to just loop over certain numbers that goes from 1 to 5, instead of typing them manually this way, you could use the range or the np arrange function, which I'll be covering in my future videos. So please subscribe so you don't miss any of the great contents that are up for. And so the next thing we want to do in this particular video is to access the elements in this particular list. So we're doing accessing of elements now. And so in the fruits, remember we had fruits that were 3. We could print, let's just print what is in the fruits first so that we'll have idea of what is in that stuff. Again, you could put a print in front, or you could just run it this way, it will print it for you. But if you want to be more Pythonic, then you could do a print, and then you pass in the variable you want to print, and it will give you the same result basically. Just wanted to point that out. So if you're trying to rush through something, then you could just paste it, especially using Jupyter. You could just run it that way and you have the same result. And so if we want to grab the first element here, so we want apple, then we'll have to like call this list, which is the fruits, and then grab the first seed. In this case, first start with 0 because number in Python start with 0. And so if we do fruits and then do a square bracket and you pass in a number corresponding to that index that you want to pick in this list, then it will give you that particular stuff. So in this case, what we expect is that by grabbing the first one, we should have apple. So this will be equal to apple. You could also grab the last one using the -1. So this is how you index in Python basically. So the first is 0, but if you want to grab the last element, no matter how long the list is, it could be thousands of elements. If we use a -1, it counts from the back, so it picks the last one. And so I'll run this and I will just print the values so that, let me just zoom in a bit so that you could see. So if I print what is this first guy here, it should tell us apple because it's the first. And if I print the last one here, it should tell us the cherry because that's the last in that list. So it should be a cherry. Oh, sorry. So I had it actually numbers and not fruits. So let me just so I don't confuse it. Let me just change this to fruits in a bit. But remember, we had numbers in this particular one called numbers, and the last number here was 5. That's why we had a 5 there. But we could also apply that on fruits. So if we change these numbers to fruits, and if we run it, then the last one now will tell us as a cherry because that's the last thing in that particular list. There's also what is called slicing. And so what we just did here was just assessing the different elements. So you got assess banana, try to assess banana and drop the answer in the comment section. How would you assess banana? You could also do slicing. So with slicing is basically like you're just selecting a slice of the data, basically like a chunk of the data, if you want to say it, or a segment, grabbing a segment of the data. So in this case, we have lists that had 3 elements and we want to select the first 2. This is how you select it. You just do from the start and stop at 2. So this is telling you to start from the start and stop at 2. So if we print this will give us the first 2 elements, which were apple and banana. And if you want to select from the number the last 3, then you do -3. So start from the last and select the 3. So that's how you do it basically. So if we print this, we'll have the last 3 numbers. So these are the last 3 numbers, and if we print this, it will give us the first 2 fruits. Sorry, to give us the first 2 fruits, and if we run that, then you have the first 2 fruits here. But you also modify your list, and so here we're trying to add another element called orange to the fruits because it's also a fruit. To do that, you just have to do .append. So once the data type is list, as we checked earlier that fruit was list, you could use a method called .append, and then you will pass in whatever you want to append to that particular list. In this case, we want to add orange. And if you do this, if you run this and then print what is fruits, you see that the fruit, instead of stopping at apple, banana, cherry, to have now orange. But also you could also like modify the numbers in that particular element. So in our numbers, we already have numbers that were up to 5. We could grab the second number and change it to another stuff. So remember 2 was like 1 in that particular list of numbers. We could change it to a 10, and so that's how you modify. So if I run that now, if I check what is fruits, we have orange added because we added it using the append. But if you check what is numbers, 10 would now be, one of the elements will be swapped for 10. So the element that in this 2, which is in the 3rd position, will change to a 10 instead of a 3. And so that's how you could modify element. Remember, you just grab that particular place you want. By doing this, it will give you a 3 initially, and then we're saying it's equal to 10, so that it will just swap into that 10. And to add, you just do append. So you just append to the list. So you just add at the bottom, at the last position of that list. You could also remove from list. So to remove, you just use the dot remove, and this would work on list. So again, make sure this is a list. So if you check the type of this, is going to be a list. If we do dot remove, and then we'll pass in the name of that particular variable we want to remove in this case, or the name of that data we want to remove in this case, or the identity of that data you want to remove in this case, banana. So in the fruits, we had banana. If there is no banana in the particular list, that will throw an error, okay, to throw a value error because it's not present. But if banana is present, then it will remove banana for that particular list if we do that. You could also use a delete to like remove stuff if you know the index rather than the name. So in this case, we know the name, we use a remove and provide in the name of what we want to remove. But if you know the position that we want to remove, maybe so want to remove it's at position 1 in the numbers, then you could just provide this one and use a del. This is short form of delete, and it's a keyword in Python. So if we run this now and we access our fruits, we wouldn't find banana in it again. And if we check our number will reduce. The one of position 3, position 1 will be gone. So position 2 will be gone. So if we run that now, we have reduced and there is no longer a 2. Okay. There's also what is called list methods. So methods are like functions that are attached to this particular um, data type called list. And so if you have a list, you could do something like insert. Just like we did the remove and append, there is also an insert. We could also insert stuff. And to insert, you just have to specify the particular index and the value you want to provide. So in this case, at index 1, in the fruits, we want to insert something like this. Remember that append added it at the bottom, at the last. The insert could add it at any position. So it's good to know this one too. So suppose you had the numbers and you have collected data that match some age, and then you want to insert a new one that is younger just to have your data maybe more organized in a certain way. Then you could use insert and access a certain index and put it there. You could also do an extend. So remember had numbers as lists. You could also extend them with by adding a bunch of other lists to it. So this would just basically add these numbers to that list at the back. So if we run this and we assess what is in our numbers, we should extend by this. So instead of having just 4 elements, it's gonna extend faster. So instead of just 4, we now have plus those numbers. If we assess what is in our fruits, then we should see that position 1 there will be grape now. So what we've been saying before would change, and so there's now a grape where we had banana before, and we deleted banana, remember. Now let's do list comprehension. So list comprehension is a smart way of like looping over a list. And so in this case, we have lists in the numbers, which I just printed and said above, and we want to loop over them to perform a certain operation. In this case, we want to square each number in that particular list. Then you could do something like provide the expression you want to use, and then say for x, which is just an instance in the numbers. And so you just go into this number, grab the first one, and that first number becomes an x. Okay, and then it does this action and then stores it in another list, which you have at your answer here, squared. So it's just doing squared, that's why squared. And what makes it a list comprehension is because of this square bracket. Always remember that. Okay, so if we run this will be pretty fast, and we have our answer here in square. If we print this, it will just basically give us the squares of all the numbers that we had in numbers. So here we have them. So square of 10 is 100, square of 8 is 64, and so on and so forth. You could also loop through lists, and here is how you do that. Sorry, I just wanted, let me just remove that. So with the pass, it's just a placeholder. I mentioned that already, so there's no need. Let me just comment that. And in fruit, we could choose to print fruits. This is how you could loop over your list. You could just print this value, and we add maybe text and say I am assessing the name of the fruits will come in. Okay, so if we run it now, in fruits we have so many fruits. We grab the first time, okay, which is the first one, apple, and then we'll print that I am assessing apple, and then you have assess apple, and then it goes again into the same list and repeat the same thing and changes it to the next one, grape, and then at the end of the day you have like all the fruits assessed. That's how you loop through. Just have to use the keyword for and the one instance in your list, which is that fruit, and then you have an in, and then you remember you have a column, and then you could do whatever operation you want to do. You could do something more complicated or whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter. But yeah, remember to end, and there you have it. So that's how to do looping. I mean, this and the list comprehension I showed you up will give you the same result, but the one above is more efficient, so it's more Pythonic. Correct. We're getting close to the end. Let's go through nested list. So the idea of nested list is like you have a list, but you don't just have a list, you have another list inside of that list, and this kind of creates a matrix for you. So you're not just having like a single row or a single column, but you're having a row and column basically. And so this is how you create lists manually in Python. And so in this case, we want to create a 3x3 matrix, and the first row has this value, the second row has this value, and the third row has these values. Okay, and so let's just print this out really quick and see what the matrix looks like. So this is the matrix which I already described. This is how it will look like. So just the same way, but notice that. And if we want to access a number at position 1 in row 1, then we'll have you have to grab something. And so that's how you grab it, because it's nested, because you have two lists, then you have to slice it 2 times if you need a single value. You just have to tell it position X and position Y. And so if I print that, then we should have a 5 because we went to the first row, okay? And then we define the position in terms of like the row to be 1, which is the middle. And then we went to on the column, and then we say it should be also at 1. So this is 0 and this is 1, and that's how we got a 5. There's also what is called sorting, and there's also what is called sorting, or there's also what is called reverse. And so when you have like list, you could sort the list, you could arrange the list alphabetically, usually if they are alphabets, or if they are numbers, then numerically, to go from small to big with the dot sort method. And so since we have fruits here, these are alphabet, then this will be able to like sort them. Let me run it and just print the result. And so it will sort them. So it's A, C, G, O. So this is alphabetically ordered. You could also reverse. Remember what we had in numbers before? So let me just print the numbers here for you. And then we'll, okay, it's already reversed. So, but yeah, it just flipped it such that what we had in front now it's at the back. So it just reordered them and flipped them so that it's reverse order. So if I run it again, it will give us what we had before, which was these numbers. So it's going from 1, 10, and then the number increasing out to 8. But if we run it again, then it will reorder. So that's how you flip it. I hope the video was helpful. It's getting close to the 20-minute mark, so I'll stop here. But please remember to subscribe if you found anything useful in this particular video. And to help support this channel grow, all you have to do is hit the like button, drop a comment, share it with a friend that you know that needs to learn Python, and hit the notification bell so that anytime I upload a video, you get to be notified. And so in this particular video, you'll learn how to create lists, how to do in slicing of lists, how to access element in a list, how to delete list element in a list, how to loop over a list, how to do list comprehension, how to use the list methods, including extend, sorting, and reversing of elements. And that was it. With this, you're good to go. If there's anything you feel you needed to learn in list that I'm missing this particular video, please drop it in the comment, and I will see if I could do another video on that. Once again, see you in my next video. Bye.